What's up, Conkers? Today we're going to be doing a coaching review. If you enjoy the video watching the channel, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And let's get the first person off the list here. Jade Warrior Aristotle. Greatly appreciate your name, actually, because it's very easy to find. Sometimes some people have very generic names. They can be difficult to find, and I want to make sure we get the right game here. Juji versus French on Gorge, so that's likely this game here. So right now, sitting at about, this is going to be a solo game, so we're not going to talk about team really, but sitting at Platinum 1 in solo and team, and you know, I anticipate that'll go up with solo because you're a 57% win rate, right? I only played 28 games. Team game maybe a little more set and where you're at right now, and then if we can see through the seasons. So obviously you had a pretty good progression from season 7 to season 8, and so now looking to get a little better in season 9. When I first started playing, I was platinum for quite a while, and so Juji's legacy versus French, you know, I don't play a lot of Juji, so we'll kind of see what you do here. I've played a decent amount of Juji in China and team, but not a lot in solo. And it's a tough matchup when you're against French or Jeanne d'Arc, just because of the knights. Because if you go, I mean, you kind of have to go with spears, but then they will build Knight Archer, and that will kill your spears. So go to 4 speed here. Let's just do selected players, see how you generally scout. So I'm not going to nitpick your build here. I've played China and Juji, so I understand what you're doing here. One interesting thing I actually would advise with the village, this is a very small thing, right? Is just build the village within the TC range. You see how this village, the edge of it's outside the town center range? The only reason I say that, maybe this won't matter as much with French, is when I'm Mongol and a building's outside of the town center range like that, I'll sit here and just burn it down. So when I play against Chinese and Juji players, that's always something I'm pretty happy about, is when I can have spearmen sit right here and just burn. And then you bring villagers, try to repair here, and I just have an archer shoot them. So that's a fine scouting pattern. Meditation Gardens, you're going to get the berries and the gold, so that's fine. It's actually kind of a, I don't know if I love this map. Maybe it's a little weird for Meditation Gardens, because you don't want to put it super far away. French will probably have some momentum and burn it. Like, you could put it here, you could put it here. I'm fine with this. Like, it could be better, but you also didn't have to use a lot of villager idle time to go, villager walk time to go build it. So finishing the rest of your scouting, which I think is fine. So I want to see how you're going to be ready for the knight response. So if we go over here and we look, it takes a French knight 29 seconds to come out. So when the French age up to age 2, you should know that you have about probably 35 to 40 seconds until a knight's at your base, depending on the map. So like, what, 440 to 450, we should get this knight at your base. And I'm interested to see what the plan is to handle it. I would assume, you know, you need to throw down a barracks here. Yeah, get a couple spearmen out. Here comes the knight. So the knight's, yep. Very nice. So yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to see there. I'd probably do the exact same thing when playing Juji. And you kind of have a couple options here. So you could go 2TC here. You could just go straight for fast castle. So, I mean, both are viable options. The only thing you probably wouldn't want to do against French is maybe stay 1 TC and just play feudal, because I think they would just beat you. At least that's how I feel about it. So you've already gotten double broadaxe and wheelbarrow. So now he's got multiple knights on you. That's when you start running into some trouble. So yeah, I do wonder about the archery range at this point. So just general question for you is, you know, how much have you scouted the opponent at this point in time? Have you scouted his base? We have God vision. It's very easy for me to sit here and critique you, but we can see that he's just got a stable, right? That's all he's making, so you actually don't need an archery range, right? If he's just making knights, just make spearmen. You just sit here and keep making spearmen. If he's just going to make knights, you can have some home base defense spearmen, and then you can pile up a bunch of spearmen and go hit this gold mine. Now, a lot of French players are going to go into the archers, but we just haven't seen this guy do that. So if he's going to give you an opening to just make spears, I'd say do it. And then let's look at his resources here. Let's actually go into caster mode. So he could throw down a range, he just hasn't. I like the small walls here. I would even maybe you know, do a short one here, just so if the knight's going to come in, he's got to run into the town center. Same thing with the gold mine, like short wall to the meditation gardens, short wall out here. I like small walls when dealing with knights, because what you want to do is just isolate the entry points that they can come in. Make it difficult for them. Make it where if they're going to go for your wood line, they've got to go through the town center. So I like the wall here. Once you get this up, he might snipe your villager because there's no spearman defending him. But you could go, like, you know, here to berries. Yeah, and this I like. I think now he's getting a tower up, right? But I think you actually had an opening there to apply some pressure because he had no archery range. And you're making Zheng Nu here. You went double range. But what are the Zheng Nu going to kill, right? Realistically, they're not going to kill the knights. Unless you have an absolute ton of Zheng Nu. And there's your blacksmith. That's what I was going to say. Very important if you go with Zheng Nu to get the +1 ranged upgrade. And if we're walling, we kind of want to have some guys to protect our walling villagers. We're kind of leaving this guy out here to get sniped, right? The other thing I just want to throw out there, I'm not necessarily saying these walls are wrong, because I would also do some short walls. It's just you kind of, like, you built this wall here, which just protects him from coming in the back, right? I'd be more interested in seeing you do like a wall here, and a wall here. Or you do, I know it's more space to cover, but you could build the wall while your troops are building it, or while your villagers are building it. Wall here, wall to stone and wood, then wall down to this wood line. You'd have to protect your villagers while building that, but we want to think about what resources we're trying to protect when we're building with walls. And so maybe in this situation you could build some farther walls out, and then you have the berries and the gold back here that you can use. And if he starts hitting the wall out here, and you need to pull your army over, the wall's more for delaying the enemy army so that you can get over there and fight them. It's not really about stopping them from getting through, it's about making it more difficult. And so here you kind of wall yourself out from these back resources. Doesn't really prevent him from coming in. Like, if you were going to do just a small wall, like, straight like this, to protect the wood, I think that's fine. But a whole wall across here, I don't think that's really needed. And so, now we see him going into archers, and now you're probably going to have a problem. Because Spear Zheng Nu cannot beat Archer Knight. I guess let me rephrase that. Should not beat Archer Knight. So it's not that it never happens. It's that it shouldn't happen. And since we're on our 1 TC, I'm interested to see how this plays out, because I would think that you would, in this matchup, either need... I would probably maybe favor fast castle here. Like you build some spears to defend the initial push, then you hit castle. You make some lancers, and then if you have castle age lancers and he's going knight horseman, he's got problems, right? And you could start picking up relics around the map. So, say if we had this wall out here, there's actually, if you, yeah, and see, now you're building this wall anyways, so there's not as much wall as you think you need to build here, just because of the stone trees and then a short wall there. So you kind of walled yourself out from the resources. You're gonna have to build it out later anyways. You could say something similar on this side, right? So if you just went wall to these trees and then wall down, you've got a secure berry patch and stone back here. So I'm not against walling. I'm just trying to think outside the box on how you could better wall. We want a wall to make sure we're protecting resources and that we can use those. So you're really expanding your walls out here into kind of an alley. And we are protecting the deer and berries, but it's a lot of wood. If you have scouted that he's going archer, you definitely want to get iron undermesh. He's making a lot of archers now, so it's possibly pretty bad for you. Yeah, and this is why the walls are quite helpful, is they're just going to delay here. You do the right thing, you pull a villager to repair it. And then he just runs away. So that's the difficult part of knights, right? He can outmaneuver you, and that's where the walls are very helpful. So you got your scout killed at some point, and again, we have God vision here. You kind of need to always have a scout. Like, if your scout dies, you really might need to consider remaking it, because you want to constantly scout what the enemy is doing. Right now, you don't have a scout. You've got no idea what's going on. And so you need to scout, like, hey, is he going on in feudal? He's got a blacksmith, double archer, range 2 stables, so you know that's a yes. Is he going fast castle? This is just kind of a general rule for when you're playing against people. How many guys does he have on wood? How many does he have on gold? Where are his food villagers? A very important tip is you do not want to attack the enemy base before you have scouted it. Because right now you're building rams. But can you win the fight? So if you're not sure that you can win the fight, you need more units, and you don't need rams. Does that make sense? So you need to know you can win this fight before you go in with a bunch of rams. See, here we do micro-wise, just this will be a little tough, but I would just say select the Zhongnu and shift-click all these archers. Just have them shred the archers. And then just run the spearmen around and try to get on the knights. This was really good here. Very good. He took a really bad engagement on those spears. But you got a really good engage on the knights initially. But he's got too many archers here, I think, is kind of the key problem. I'm going to call that fight pretty much a draw. I think you guys pretty much decimated each other's armies. Yeah, I think you did pull out there ahead. You got a really good engage here on the knights with the spearmen. That was easily the difference in the fight. And let's see, he doesn't have any archers left. Yeah, you've got your blacksmith upgrades. That's good. Let's see what eco upgrades you have. Yeah, if you're out on deer, you probably want to get survival techniques. And, this is an interesting point. So, we have our official on the mill. We have an official on the wood. There's Imperial officials are very important anytime you're playing China or Zhuji's Legacy. So, one is when you build a lumber camp, you can't forget to move the Imperial official to the next wood. Because right now, he's supervising this lumber camp and nobody's dropping off to it. So you got a guy, but he's not being effectively used. When you're using Zhuji's Legacy, there's a little button you can cycle through your Imperial officials you'll want to start using. Actually, I wonder if I can see that if I leave caster's mode here. Yes, this. So there is a total Imperial officials. You can click this, go back and forth. Couple things I would advise. One is you always have at least... This doesn't apply for very early game, okay? But at this point in the game, you need to have 3 Imperial officials. One's going to be on food. One's going to be on wood. And one's going to roam to collect taxes. Because you have 96 gold, 164 gold here, 54, 52, 76, 132. If you had an Imperial official just roaming and picking up gold, you could probably take all these guys off gold and have them collecting a different resource. So you have, sorry, I'm kind of jumping into some different things here. You have a bunch of villagers queued up. You know what I would actually be interested to see here is, one, you really only ever want 2 or 3 villagers in queue, and I'm kind of guilty of queuing up too many as well, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 villagers queued up. That's 450 food that you have queued up that you don't have access to because it's basically in queue. So you really only ever want, 100 or 150 food stacked up on the town center. Because if we weren't stacking up food and we had these 5 villagers gathering a different resource, let's say wood or food, we'd be pretty close to going castle here. If I were you, I'd have 2 more. I'd have 4 Imperial officials out right now. Because I'd have 1 guy on this deer, 1 guy on this berries, 1 guy on this lumber camp, 1 rotating around to pick up tax. And your economy would be a lot more efficient right now if you were doing that. So I'm interested to see what you do now that you've kind of had a draw on the fight. But the more efficient economy we have, the more units we can pump out, right? So if our economy was being more efficient and we had, 1 or 2 more unit producers down, do we just take that fight and you win that one at that point? Probably. So he's got a tower. You're going to have to back off here. In our God mode, we can see that he's really making a lot of archers. Really not much villager kill wise on both sides, so it's pretty even game. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that tower, but it's good for vision. I would be interested if you had a scout, and this is me because I like to play aggressive. If you had a scout, you want to go around and scout food sources that French is going to move out to food sources. They're going to run out of sheep. They're going to move to food. And so if you've scouted the whole map, you know where these food sources are. You don't need to be a map hacker to say, hey, the French guy's out of food. He's probably gone to the deer or the boar, right? So you can use the scout to check those areas. And then you can sneak a Zhengnu or 2. Just walk them all the way along the bottom of the map out here. And shoot his villagers and cause a lot of idle time on the French food out here. That's probably what I would do in this scenario, is like hold down the middle with an army, sneak a couple Zhengnu out here, make his life difficult. Of course, easy for me to see where he is on the map because I'm watching a replay and I didn't have to scout it myself, right? It's going to be harder in game, so... I like the Castle Age. I would have liked to have done it sooner, but I like that you're getting it up here and you're going stables. Yeah, I'd love to see you with like three stables down right now, and all three of the stables start making Lancers. That's what I would really like to see. So we want to get our Shaolin monks immediately and start grabbing relics. So as soon as you build this bad boy, you ideally want to get the farthest out relics first. This one, you're probably not getting, okay? These four are all within distance that you can get. So you queue up a monk, you click on the relic, then you shift click on the monastery. He'll pick it up and bring it back. You might need to use your army to guard him while you do that, okay? So one of the things you asked about was farm transitioning here, and I know this video is getting a little long, so I'll try not to spend too much more time. One is I would advise getting horticulture, just because of how many people you had on food, and it looks like you're going to need to go to berries or farm transition and/or. Second is you don't need to go into farms quite yet because you have berries here and deer and boar out here, and right now you're probably thinking, yeah, but it's impossible for me to use those. Well, if you move your army back here to secure these berries, let's just think about the berries. You could small wall here, and then you at least have the berries to eat up. We don't really want to farm transition in the front of the base, because the front of the base is probably always going to be under attack. There's really a couple things here. So, one, you're most likely in Tang Dynasty. Can we look at this? Are we allowed to see what dynasty you're in? I don't think we can see what dynasty you're in right now, but I can tell you that you're likely in Tang Dynasty because you're not in, you can't build a granary. So it's fine to not go to Song until you hit Castle, but then you probably want to get down, basically what I'm getting at is before you farm transition, you want to build the Jiangnan Tower. That will allow you to have access to granaries. And Song Dynasty, I don't remember the exact percent, someone can correct me, gives you like a 30% discount on economic buildings. That includes farms. So that's going to save you a lot of wood in your farm transition. And so what you really want to do, it's a little hard on Gorge, you want to create a space, you could maybe do it back here or back here, where you can put the granary down, surround it with farms, and then you plop down the other granary on the side of the farms and you do the same thing. And maybe I'll find a picture of it somewhere for you, but you kind of have this whole, granary farm complex in the back of the base. That's what you want to go for. You don't want to put farms on the front side. They can be easily raided. And we want these farms near our granaries, not near mills. So you're going to these berries back here. Again, that's fine, but you are going to have to build walls out here now. Moving this many villagers, I would also maybe want them to be escorted by a few units. So you're going crossbow, which is fine. He's making knights. I would still advise Lancers here to start with, and the reason I'm advising Lancers is because we know he's going Knight Archer, okay? If he's going Knight Archer, he has no Spearmen, he has no Barracks, he has nothing to deal with Lancers. He's got nothing for it. Crossbows will be good against Knights, but Archers can kill crossbows. If you build Castle Age Lancers, they're stronger than the Knights, and they will take very minimal damage from the Archers. So that's my reasoning. That's why I would have gone into Lancers here. It's not even that you would need to make an amazing amount of them, but five Castle Age Lancers here could completely change this fight. Another important thing, I talk about this a lot when I do replay reviews, is when you go to Castle Age, what are some key things you want to achieve, right? It's not just that now we're in Castle Age and we can beat the enemy because we aged up. The age up itself does nothing for you, okay? So, what do I mean by that? The age up unlocks technologies. You have to get those technologies. So you have 18 spearmen. You got to get veteran spearmen. If you're going to use spearmen, that's kind of a must-do. So you want to have resources when you age up to queue those upgrades up, right? Like, if you're going hard into Zhongnu, I could maybe actually see a reason you wouldn't upgrade the Zhongnu because you're not going to use them anymore. But let's assume you're going to keep using spearmen. Want to make sure you get your veteran upgrades. The Shaolin monks have come out pretty late, so as soon as this Shaolin monastery goes up, you queue up a Shaolin monk, you get him out to a relic, and you pick that relic up. Because we, ideally, in an ideal world, you already have 3 relics at this point in the game. You move this guy to the right, lumber camp, love that. We're still probably just rocking 2 Imperial officials, which I would love to see you. There you go. You got a 3rd one queued up. It's a bit late, but we definitely needed that. And you're building Lancers. And here's again what I would advise with the Lancers. So Lancers are not defensive units. You're either going to use them in the main battle, or you're going to go raid with them. So as soon as you get these Lancers out, you get a scout with them, you go hit economy, right? We never really want Lancers just chilling in the base. Lancers are raiding units, they're attacking units. We want to get a scout with our Lancers, go around to the food sources on the map, go around to the gold sources on the map, hit our enemy villagers where we can really hurt them. So again, I would pick up relics before you get sacred sites. That's just what I would recommend. So you're floating a lot of wood right now, and part of that's because I know you're working on a farm transition. So let's see. I mean, this battle is going to go great, right? I wouldn't throw the spearmen in there. Yeah, now you can pull your spearmen back, which is good. We really want the Lancers to get up here on the archers. This actually kind of looks like probably not a good fight for you. So, he did lose a lot of knights. But he did a pretty good job of hitting some of your... He's going heavy in Arbaletiers, which is a very good move for him. So I think right now, looking at your resources, you just queued some things up. But yeah, you were floating a lot of resources. And so that's just something to keep in mind. Trebuchet, Nest of Bees. I am a huge fan of Nest of Bees. I love that. More Lancers. Now that he's, see, here's kind of a timing thing is, now that he's also Castle, he can build Arbaletiers and kill your Lancers. When you first age up and you had the advantage on him, you could have pumped out Lancers and made that timing push. Like, you age up, you get your Veterancy upgrades, you get the Lancers in there. He's age 2 units still. You could have made a timing push and probably beaten him. Now he's kind of caught up. And these farms, gonna have to rag on you for the farms, man. If you play Zhuji Legacy, you gotta get Song Dynasty and set up the Granary complex. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can let me know and I'll show you. I'm gonna fast forward through how this game ends because I think I've given a lot of tips that are good. You went second town center late. You kind of realized, like, hey, I need more economy. I think that's fine. You know, a lot of people say you need this second town center immediately. That's not how I really play the game. A lot of the times you need units to stay alive like you did, and then you can add in the second town center later. So big fight here. You have Nest of Bees now. He really doesn't have a front line to contest. He's going full range units. So I think you've got him pretty handily here, right? Now it's just pushing in. Oh, that was a decimation of a shot from those Nest of Bees. That's game. So let me see if I can pull up a game real quick and show you what I'm talking about with the Juji farms, how we want to do Juji farms. I haven't done a single player skirmish in a long time, so let me check this out. I don't even need an AI enemy. How do I make him go away? Let's be on the same team, man. Alright. I'm cheating a little bit because I don't want to sit here and watch my guys, so... Probably need to enable cheats. Yeah, I don't remember all of the cheats. Maybe it's like in a jiffy? Alright. Let's check this out. Perfect. Alright, so let me show you how this granary thing's done. I messed it up. Done messed it up. Gonna have to restart. Alright, age 1. Cheats. Maximum resources. Let's do it. This is actually how I play Juji's Legacy. Just kidding. So, in a jiffy. So, let me show you how this works. So, let's say we throw down our meditation garden. Oh, I really completed that fast, no kidding. And then we age up with our Shaolin Monastery because we want to go castle. Then we do our Jingdang Tower. And then at some point we run out of food here and we're like, man, I'm really, I'm out of food on the map. So what we want to do with our granaries... Of course, these guys are going to build really fast. And I haven't set this up perfectly because you could set it up better where they're kind of all touching each other. But this is what we want. Can I delete this? No. So ideally I'd put like the third granary here or something. So this could be better set up. Essentially, you want to set it up where all 3 granaries, the influence is touching each other, which is decent here, but not great. Let's say we had some more here. That's kind of what it looks like. Like how, I know you were in game, it's a lot harder. But if you're, and see, maybe we're just super cool, we want to throw down defenses around our farms. I actually do that with towers a lot. So Song Dynasty, economy and population buildings cost 30% less wood to produce. So you want to get Song Dynasty before you do your farm transition as Juji. That's why the farm transition is so legit as Juji. It's because of the cheaper farms with Song Dynasty. So you kind of want all your granaries getting as many farms as you can in these rings. Each granary improves the farm gather rate of nearby villagers by 10%. That's very strong. And that's why you want to use the granaries instead of the mills. And that's our little coaching on that. So I'll leave key takeaways in the description of the video on YouTube. I think in general, the farms was one we obviously just talked about, but I think you did a fine job early. You probably made Zung Nu when you didn't need them. You could have just gone spears. So maybe one of our key takeaways is you always want to be scouting your enemy. What food resources they're on, what gold resources they're on, where can you hit them where they are going to hurt. You also want to see what unit producers they're making. That's going to tell you what you need to make. If he's just going stables, just make spears. You don't need Zung Nu. If he's going archers, you're going to have to make something to deal with the archers. I would like Fast Castle in that scenario because, one, with Tang Dynasty, your Fast Castle is cheaper than everybody else's. And two, you could make some Lancers that would effectively deal with his Knights and Archers. Another key takeaway was just when you went to Castle, making sure you get all of your upgrades, grab relics, and use your tech advantage for a Castle Age timing push. We kind of want to do all of those three things when you hit Castle. So relics, Veterancy technologies, Castle Age timing push before he hits Castle and get his. So thanks everybody for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments on the video. Thanks.